be fighting alongside the guys, don't you think?
Well, come now, a brave and beautiful fairy like you doesn't need to prove anything to us. Would you like some hot tea?
A few moments later.
You won't win! You won't win! You...
Please don't leave me!
These eyes, Layla, mustn't cry.
Goodbye, Naboo. This is my last tear. These eyes will never cry again.
The girl you knew is broken, just like the flower Ogron gave me. All I want to do is give him back his gift.
Oh my, that does look painful.
Well, hi. Look who's back. Back again. Hopefully with a better sounding audio. Does it sound better? If it's just the same, that's going to be a bit upsetting. Today we shall take a look at and redesign Aisha, the Fairy of Waves, or I think a better translation of her powers is the Fairy of Fluids, if I'm not mistaken, which I understand why they didn't go with that for the English versions. Also, for some reason in the earlier season she was called Layla. I have ideas for that name. I want to bring it back in whatever world I decide to make it, probably in the Roxy one videos. But yeah, with Aisha, I have a few things to say about her actually. I am really happy with how she turned out in both of her forms, but the one you'll be seeing now is the casual form. I'm going to try and keep it to half the video, like their respective halves. So Aisha was one I was really excited to do because there's a lot of rewriting or sort of tweaking I want to do with her, and I'm very upset about her, obviously, with the way she gets treated later on in the series. Later on in the series, I'm trying to enunciate my T's, but a weird accent comes out when I try to enunciate my T's because I tend to skip over them. But yeah, Aisha. She actually gave me a few issues because I couldn't decide on a hairstyle and I couldn't decide on an outfit color palette. I think you see it, I don't know if you'll see it now, but in the sketch you'll notice I have 3 outfit ideas, and the one I ended up picking was sort of a downscaled version of one of the other ones because it looked too ball gowny, and I'm gonna sneak peek if I ever do their ball gowns, that's the style I'm taking with her. Oh my god, she's gorgeous. It's taken from Fashion Week Africa, I think 2024. I just downloaded a bunch of them and I was like, oh my god, this is gorgeous. With Aisha, a problem that Aisha tends to have in her designs, at least to me, when fans redesign her and the show itself, they tend to lean this more one way or the other, but generally very not masculine, but they focus on the athletic way. And here's the thing, she's an athletic girly. We aren't going to pretend she's not, but it leans into this idea of she can't be feminine. She can, in the show she kind of is, but it almost feels what's the word, not forced in, but they wouldn't go full mask, which is fine, and that's probably why I've focused her. I tried to make her feel a little bit more feminine. I shouldn't use the abbreviations because I don't know if people understand. You aren't in my head. Basically, I like Aisha a lot, and I do think you can have athleticism and be masked and be femme. I don't know. It's a personal thing for me. I feel like the show in writing tends, in the later seasons, they tend to put her more in this weird, it's not masculine. I don't want to say it's masculine, but they do this thing where they gave her the hot-headed trait, and I don't understand why. Because that's a Bloom trait for one thing, but also it feels a little bit weird. A lot of the Wings fandom will talk about, not all the time, but will mention sort of the racism that Rainbow indulges in. See Season 8, World of Wings, Fate the Wings Saga, etc. But also, I don't think enough people talk about the way her character was altered in Season 5. All of the characters were altered in Season 5. You could argue Season 4 for Bloom, but honestly, it's Season 5 where it starts happening. I hate what they do to all of them, but Aisha specifically, because they make it into the stereotypical angry black woman, and I don't like this. Because a lot of her, I really like. I think it's because she's one of my favorites, and I really resonated with her story in Season 2, where she's just so insecure about like making friends. She's so like socially anxious, but everyone like and especially her relationship with Stella, which is like she's not outwardly malicious or like angry with Stella. She's very genuine with her, and I think even Stella is very genuine with Aisha. She's just a bit callous, I think is the right word. Like in season 2, there's that moment where they're in the simulator and she says,
And the
"And
five
the five
of us
of
will
us
cast
will pull
one
off a
big mega
conversion
spell
spell,"
altogether.
and it really fucks with Aisha. And like, fair, like Stella's a bitch for that. Not gonna lie, even as like a young child, it made me feel like so bad for Aisha. Like it was one of those moments where I was like, can I just skip through this? But because it was coming on like TV and I couldn't just like skip through it, I had to like sit through the sadness that is it. But I really like her arc in season 2 and in season 3 actually. I just think like softer characters or more emotional characters tend to be undervalued. Not really in Winx, but in media in general. And I wish Aisha was given more of that. Like, if you take season 4, okay, so Naboo dies. I'll talk about him in a second, but they really could have done something truly like spectacular with her in season 5. And then they had that one moment where he's like, "Why don't you let me die?" Then she cries, which, oh my god, I would too. And then he's not brought up ever again. And then she gets in like 2 new boy toys. I don't like them. I'll be straight up. I do not like Nex and Roy. I think their names are. They suck. And that is one of the things I would change in season 4. I don't want to change it too much. I was actually debating on whether or not I actually wanted to change this, because it is a little bit problematic to... Well, okay, I kind of disagree with a lot of the fan base of like, it's a little problematic to kill off your only like black and Indian coded character. Okay, when I say it like that, yes, I agree, it's a bit fucked up. But the thing is, I like how the moment is very like, cool. I think it's built up to a lot and it's really cool to watch, but you could do that same thing and not kill him, because you have like a litany of white boys to kill and you kill Naboo. It would have actually hit a lot harder if Sky or Riven died. Brandon, to me, I don't think have like a reason to. So in my rewrite, I was thinking between Riven and Sky, and one of the other changes, I mentioned this in the Bloom video, is I would sort of not have the boy plot, like have the drama there, because I find it so fucking annoying. It takes up way too much time with like the jealousy plot. So what I would do is I would actually have Musa and Riven break up like early in the season, possibly in the pilot, and then have Riven be the one to like sacrifice himself. Like Naboo still casts the spell. He's the only caster of them boys, which is kind of a problem that all the guys don't have magic. I really think they should. Well, not they should, but it's harder to them to keep up with the wings. Especially if, because in my, you'll see this in the transformation section, I'm kind of giving them weapons, and I think giving the girls weapons, it's cool, but it really hamstrings the boys. So what I would do is start culling them. So instead of Naboo dying, it's Riven. Like Riven takes the blowback from, pun. I want to make a video on Riven and Naboo, actually, so that's a pun, only if you know, you know. They should kiss. Basically, he dies in Naboo's place, and I don't think Musa would be sort of remorseful for the relationship, like wish she had been there for him. I think it's more he's at his healthiest, and that's where he dies. Because it also like sort of completes the arc he had in season 1 with like betraying the Winx and like spying on them. Yes, it's really tragic to have a really young character die, but also it's like, can we start culling the white man? I know it feels like I'm being very harsh, but I really don't like Riven, and if he was written better, I think I'd like him more, and not just forgiven. In season 1, I think he's actually written decently well. Season 2 is better in season 2, but then season 3, I like season 3. It's probably my favorite season, but oh my god, Riven did such a step back. He annoys me to no end. I wish they had like forwarded the relationship better. That's why I kind of wanted to have him break up and have him like fall in love with Naboo. spoilers, I guess, but like it's so much more interesting that way. I've mentioned like every video about them make the men gay. I am not wrong. And we'd feel that more. And the reason I chose Musa's a lot of interest, well, not just because I like Helia, but it's because I mentioned in the last video I want to focus on Tekna, Musa, and Flora this season. And I do think you could do a lot with music and sorrow and mourning. You go through, and this arc of me. I don't think Musa would even... Actually, tell me what you think of this idea, because this isn't like a proper rewrite. I'm just like spouting nonsense. What if Musa was to switch sides? Because the thing is, I would want it to be Bloom. See, this is why I'm split between Sky and Riven. Because Bloom would be actually the most likely to switch side because hot-headed and like vengeance. But also, I think keeping Bloom the way she is, this like self-righteous, like highly self-righteous character, you really set up for a lot of like character faults on her end. But also, again, it's a little bit of lore for you. It sets up Zelina really well. Because I do think Zelina would be present, not like a main character, but she would be present in this season. And seeing Bloom act the way she does and not acknowledge the harm she is doing by the way she is acting. Someone actually said, it's the same, I know, I have your name. Java Illustrations, or Jave Illustrations? Java Illustrations, I hope I'm saying your name. Oh, at least one of those have to be right. Right. You made a really good point, or you found the word I was looking for, which is preachy. Bloom does feel very preachy in Season 4, and I think you play with that a bit. You actually make it a proper character fault. Ooh, spicy. And I do think, because this is something that's also lost in the later seasons, even in the earlier ones, Musa's quite rageful. Like, she can be quite... Okay, maybe it's just the Cinnaloom dub. I don't actually know if it's in the other ones. But she does have this latent sort of aggression to her. Kind of love that. Because she, in Season 3 and... No, Season 4 is what I'm talking about. She starts embracing this more like feminine clothing style, but it's not really talked about. And honestly, go with that. Like, actually have it be a point of a character. And again, you could, with Tekna and Musa, you explore sort of gender and this idea of how gender and gendering affects, on Earth specifically, affects the way people view you, and this like, because they're from different magical universes, their conceptions of gender and identity and portrayal is different. You actually play with this with Musa's sort of latent anger issues, slight anger issues. I don't think it's like Bloom levels of bad, but you play with this idea of revenge, anger issues, and like the performance of gender and the way she sort of like explores it. And that's kind of what I would want to explore with Musa, is this idea of gender and gendering on Earth. If any of you have noticed, I try not to try and be too serious, because I am kind of just shitposting on the internet. But I do think Season 4 should have explored more adult themes and sort of explored it through the characters. And as you see, my sort of fantasy fanfic for this is very like, I wouldn't say like text heavy, but I think it requires a bit more of like an understanding of these concepts, probably better than even I have now. Like, in all honesty, I think if I were to actually write this, in a few years I would think it to be crude. The best work I could do now, I imagine, or my imaginary is that it wouldn't be as good, obviously, as like someone who's older than me and more like well versed in these situations. But that's kind of what I would want to explore with Musa specifically. Is this idea of gender and gendering and the way we do, and the way those like social conventions happen within cultures, and you sort of explore that. She sort of explores her emotions through music. I'm talking about Musa in an Aisha video. Sorry, Aisha. Let's go on to the next section, which is her transformation. And that brings us to Aisha's transformation, her Neo Believix. Here's the cute thing you'll notice almost immediately. Well, probably not immediately because I'm still sketching. Or maybe I'll cut that out. I don't know. You'll notice that I've made her very rogue-like. Oh no, that's a genre. Rogue-ish? I based her off this idea of a rogue. And here's why. So I am going for this more contemporary feel with the transformations. Maybe it's like a bit more eccentric, but fundamentally the idea is that they look very like modern, like what we would imagine futurism, or like sort of the idea of futurism in the early 2000s, I think. Maybe a bit earlier, maybe even like 80s, 90s futurism or whatever. But the thing is, you'll notice that with Bloom and Tekna the most. With Aisha, it's kind of there, but I mostly base it off like the concept of a rogue. And here's the thing, this is why. I haven't talked about this yet. I think the girls in combat and just in general should play more individualized roles, because it's always bothered me that they all just attack indiscriminately, and obviously they can all attack well and strategically, but a lot of strategy is having people like units do different things. And you might notice that I'm also a gamer. Is this a surprise? No, it really shouldn't be. But yeah, I play D&D, which is gonna come up a lot. So I base it off like the D&D 5e rogues, or at least no, that's a pretty broad thing. But I like D&D, but I have friends who are like really into it, so I just absorb knowledge through them. With her morphics, she just produces knives. I don't need friends. I've got knives. God, I love Aisha. That is not something she would do. I think I'm peeking. Okay, I'm not. I'm just very loud. It looks like I'm peeking on the screen. But yeah, basically I'd have Aisha play like the sneaky rogue role. So whenever they need to be more sneaky, Aisha would either just do the mission or like take lead. And this is solely based on that one episode in season 2. I tell you, I like season 2. Where she's like spies on Helia for Flora.
Maybe you could find out how he feels about me. Flora, how am I supposed to do that? I don't know. Maybe Chada can help. I mean, she always knows everybody's secrets. I really don't like these kinds of situations, but I'll see what I can do. Oh, thank you, Layla!
Because, as I said, she's very insecure and just wants to make friends, and she even makes a comment on it in the Sunloom dub. Probably in every dub. And the original, it's also there, but she's just like...
The things I do to make new friends.
Which is so... Okay, look, it's sad, but it's so funny. And like... You are kind of like sneaking into like a guy's room and looking at his private notes.
Oh, lame.
Yeah! I mean, dumb teenagers, I guess. I love her, and this is almost entirely based on that one concept. You could go any route with Aisha. She has one of the most if not the most versatile power set, and I was like, we need a rogue. And like, you could probably fit one of the other girls in rogue, but Aisha does it the best. She kind of has to be. She's been locked up all her life, like her childhood was mostly her being locked up, so she had to learn to sneak out or like sneak around the rules. Yes, you could argue Stella has this as well, but truly, do you think Stella's gonna be a rogue? No. We'll see what happens when I get to her. But with Aisha, it's just like a rogue-ish. Most of her stuff is done in shadow, and rogues in D&D are very like, I think they do a good bit of damage. Maybe not the most, but I think Aisha would also do a lot of like crowd control because of the Morphix nets and the Morphic wraps and the Morphix ropes, whatever she does. Has such a cool power set. She's kind of like the Green Lantern, but pink, and that makes her better. Although her outfit is very green. And okay, I do want to just touch on that. I did want to make it teal. But when you make it teal, I don't know, I wasn't vibing with teal, so I just made it green. And look, it's not lost on me that she looks a lot like my design for Roxy. The green is slightly different, but the wings are both pink. Like, yes, hers are bigger. If you've seen her wings, I love them. I'm obsessed. They kind of look like Morphix wings. I'm obsessed. I love that. I do think Aisha having Morphix wings is like a missed opportunity the show never went for. Same with Tekna having, like, she had it in season 1, but like they should have had more like tech-focused wings. Anyway, just with Tekna and Bloom, just by the way, Bloom would be mostly damage dealing, like AoE damage, but also like self-healing. Think actually Mighty from Honkai Star Rail, and no, not only self-healing, but like she can heal other people as well. Like, she could be a healer, but like AoE damage dealer. And then Tekna is mostly like a tactician. Yeah, like mostly tactician, but also like a shielder kind of thing. So she thinks Symmetra from Overwatch mixed with Robin from Fire Emblem Awakening. If you are inside my brain, you understand what I mean. And not symmetric as she is now, like some of her old pulls that she had in Overwatch. Listen, in my head this makes sense. Where it's like, yes, Tekna gives shields like Symmetra, but also does strategy like Robin. Flawless. People understand what I mean when I say this. But yeah, Aisha would a lot, most of the time, just be kind of an all-rounder, but mostly focused on stealth. And I do think you need someone on stealth in like a team setup. And yeah, that's kind of why. Also, the little like coat thing around her neck, kind of big scarf coat, it gives her a very nice silhouette, especially because the actual outfit she's wearing under that is very form-fitting because, like, well, duh, spy. I mean, you could have, like, spies with not that form-fitting, and I tried not to make it too, like, a sort of skin-tight, but I kind of had to do something. And yeah, you'll notice both on the casual design and the transformation design, she has like gold accents, I guess. It's kind of jewelry, but my idea is that in the transformation sequence, the gold from her, like the clips or whatever in her hair and some of the stuff on her skin would form into the jewelry she wears as in a transformation. I gave her that because I kind of wanted her to have like a tiara or some sort of crown to sort of pay homage to her royal heritage. I guess I could have done it with Bloom also, actually, now that I think about it. But then also the lipstick she's wearing in the transformation is this like very bright signature pink she usually has in the casuals in season 2 and 3, I believe. I just think it's a really cute lip color, but for casual that I did, her Believix, or her season 4 look, my season 4, I gave her this very nice dark lip because I think it accented the outfit better. But because there's like, pink is kind of an accent color in the transformation design, I wanted the lipstick to sort of be pink so it matches the morphics, the wings, the bottle she has. That's kind of a homage to Katara's bottle from like Avatar The Last Airbender. Again, you kind of have to be inside my brain for me to like for you to actually understand why I do the random shit that I do. And yeah, the darker greens just kind of to add a little bit more depth because I think you see early on I had her wear like these like stockings kind of thing. You'll see one of the references that comes up, it's on there. I eventually took it out because it was looking a little bit too Bloomix or like Bloomix, which is beautiful. Like Bloomix is beautiful, but like as I said with my Neo Believix, it's somewhere between Magic Wings and Enchantix. So they still have like the base sort of like that like fabric from Magic Wings, but it's just a little bit updone. That's why she has the coat thing. Because without the coat neck scarf thing she's wearing, it would look very similar to her Magic Wings to the point where it's like it kind of looks like Charmix, but it adds this extra vavavoom, having vavavoom, je ne sais quoi, just having it there. And her hair, I sent this design to a friend, and he said that it kind of just looks like I took a brush and drew it. Which is, okay, that sounds like, how did you draw? I took a brush and drew so smart. But it does just look like a brush, and I was thinking, I could go over this again and give it line art and that. I just like the way it looks without it. It does stand out because against the wings, but I still think she looks gorgeous. Also, you won't be able to see this, but like when you zoom in, or maybe you can zoom in, but like, shit looks so pretty. Like, a lot of the transformations I do, I'm like, all 3 of them so far, it's like, you could probably just have, like, zoom them in and they could be profile pictures. They're really pretty. At least to me. And shoes, I struggle with shoes. We are not surprised. Also, just a little bit of more Fire Emblem, like lethality. Maybe not lethal, maybe not like lethal, but I do think Aisha would be one of the girlies who's able to, like, one-shot enemies. Or like crit. Okay, here's another question. If we were sort of reinventing the Winx like power system, which is what I'm trying to like kind of allude to, do we want to have stuff like crits in there? Or just like, I think that, you know what, we don't need it. It just looks pretty. It's a show. This is another thing. It's because I'm a gamer. I'm sort of trying to apply game logic to the wings, and I think in some ways it works, and in some ways it doesn't. Let's not do the crit thing, or even just like any type of combat, just have them like strategize, like as a group. So I answered my own question. No need. And yeah, on the weapon thing, I didn't give Bloom or Techno weapons. I probably could have, but I don't know, I don't think they would use it as much as the others, as at the very least conduits like magic wands for magic. But with Aisha, it's like she is well versed in, she is quite athletic, and you'll see in the casual I gave her a ribbon to call back to the ribbon dancing. But also, I don't know, I think she's quite adept at weaponry. I almost gave her like a motorbike outfit for her transformation because she's able to like use the hover bikes. But I decided not to because the knives and the rogue aesthetic was a lot more intriguing to me as a concept for Aisha. But her being so adept at weaponry and weapon mastery, again, I said before, it does sort of bring down the men, which is why, again, I would cull them down but also push them a bit far back in the narrative. The only problem is, because I want to do that, I need to find an excuse for them to come to Earth. I think with Riven, God, you'd have to, because Naboo, I think you could bring to Earth very easily because, like, he's in love with Aisha, and Riven's in love with Naboo. No, definitely, but he has to fall in love with Earth. But yeah, I think with Aisha specifically, how she would, because Fairy of Fluids, it includes water, which is why I almost brought the blue in, I really wanted to, because I do think she would bond with the Earth with regards to sort of oceans, oceanography, and sort of nature as well. And also being able to empathize with people on Earth, just with the strife that they go through, and the ways Earth is kind of dying, and sort of nihilism. I think honestly, because Aisha was the only Wings to get like a full like both backstory and then like a proper character arc in season 2. Yes, they all had character arcs. Aisha's feels better though, and in season 3 she's kind of a main focus. I do think she would be able to empathize on the ground level with the humans, the Earthlings more. Very natural way to say that sentence. And yeah, I think honestly, Aisha would be fun to explore. Self-revelation, and even this idea of falling in love and getting married to Naboo. Maybe not getting married. Look, I know that the proposal's very cute, but like even as a kid, I was just like, they are weirdly young for this. And maybe they're not to other people. Definitely they are. And it's like, you could like calm it down, but you could have it be more like devotion. Or maybe you could have the... Because they use like the whole plot of like, well, the parents wanted us to get married, but we like each other anyway. It's a very cool plot. But yeah. Anyway, if you guys have any ideas on what this version of Aisha would be like, because I actually think she would be very different to the way people tend to think about Aisha, and that's just my perspective. Just if you do like the angry version of her that appears in the show later on, yes, it has its problematic aspects, but I don't ever blame any individual, like viewer, watcher, consumer for enjoying these things. It's not really on you. Like, yes, it would be nice if people were able to sort of acknowledge these inherent biases, but on the other, that are existent within like systems. But like, on the other hand, it's just sometimes you just want to enjoy something, and like, it's not your fault that it's being fed to you. God, I really need to not do this in YouTube videos. I am literally just shitposting. Kind of. And yeah, this is my version of shitposting. This is therapy.